Something extraordinary is happening in Washington right now, and most people haven't fully grasped how serious this has become. In the first week of his second term as president, Donald Trump has issued a series of threats unprecedented in American history. He wants to acquire Greenland. He's planning to take back the Panama Canal. And he's talking about making Canada the 51st state of America. These aren't jokes. These aren't diplomatic negotiating tactics. These are actual statements made by a sitting president on the world stage, recorded, documented, and shocking the leaders of allied nations. And here's the most frightening part. Trump is saying everything is on the table, including military force to achieve these goals. NATO allies are in panic mode, European leaders are holding emergency meetings, and American foreign policy experts are asking, is this a return to imperialism? Stay until the end, because what's unfolding here isn't just about Trump's personality. It's about the redefinition of America's global role, relationships with allies, and the world order itself. It all started with a single sentence Trump said at a press conference: "We need Greenland. It's necessary for national security, and we're going to get it. Every option is on the table, including military force." The room froze. Reporters looked at each other. Is he joking? They thought. But Trump, without a smile, continued, "I'll be talking to the Prime Minister of Denmark. But let's be clear. This territory needs to be under American control. What is Greenland? Greenland is a massive island in the Arctic, between Canada and Iceland. Its population is only 56,000 people, but its strategic value is incalculable. Why? Because US military bases exist in the Arctic. It has rare earth minerals critical for technology. Climate change is melting ice, opening new sea routes. And Russia and China are trying to gain influence in the Arctic. But there's one problem. Greenland is an autonomous territory of Denmark, meaning it belongs to Denmark. And Denmark is a NATO ally. Trump's logic is simple. Greenland is strategic for us. Therefore, it should be ours. But international law says that buying or forcefully taking territory is not acceptable in the 21st century. Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen made a statement hours after Trump's remarks. Her voice was trembling. Greenland is not for sale. Greenland belongs to the Greenlandic people. This discussion is absurd. When Trump heard this, he became furious. He wrote on Truth Social. The Prime Minister of Denmark spoke very rudely. That's not how you speak to allies. Maybe we should reconsider NATO contribution payments. This was a threat. Cutting financial contributions to NATO could shake the alliance. The European Union issued an emergency statement. The territorial integrity of EU member states is non-negotiable. We stand with Denmark. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg gave a diplomatic but firm message. NATO allies respect each other's sovereignty. This is a fundamental principle of the alliance. French President Emmanuel Macron spoke more bluntly. 19th century colonial mentality doesn't work in the 21st century. Trump's rhetoric is dangerous. The Panama Canal connects the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean through an artificial waterway, built by America in 1914. For years it was under US control, but in 1977, an agreement was signed to transfer it to Panama in 1999. Now Trump wants this canal back. Trump said at a rally, "We built the Panama Canal with our money, with our engineers. But now Panama is cooperating with China. This is unacceptable. If Panama falls under Chinese influence, we will take this canal back. Every option is on the table, including military occupation." What do the facts say? Yes, Chinese companies operate ports around the Panama Canal. These are commercial agreements. But this doesn't mean China controls the canal. The canal is an international waterway. Panama guarantees neutrality. But Trump is presenting this as a security threat. Panama's president, Jose Raul Mulino, responded sharply. "The Panama Canal belongs to Panama. Non-negotiable. No country can question our sovereignty. Trump's threats violate international law. We will appeal to the United Nations." China's foreign ministry spokesperson denied Trump's claims. China fully respects Panama's sovereignty. Our only interest is trade. Latin American countries came together and issued a joint statement. Latin American territorial sovereignty is inviolable. We stand with Panama against any threat. But Trump didn't back down. he doubled down. At another rally, he said, "I'm not asking permission, I'm informing. The Panama Canal was built by American blood and money. If they're letting China control it, we're taking it back. Period." And then came the statement that shocked everyone. During a meeting with Republican governors, Trump smiled and said, "You know, Canada should really become our 51st state. Think about it. Same language, similar culture, massive resources. Why are they separate?" The room went silent. Was he serious? Trump continued. "I've been talking to some people up there. A lot of Canadians think it's a good idea. We could make it happen." The Canadian government's reaction was swift and angry. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau issued a statement. "Canada is a sovereign nation. We are not and will never be part of the United States. This suggestion is insulting to every Canadian." Canadian Foreign Minister Melanie Joly went further. Trump's comments demonstrate a fundamental misunderstanding of international relations and respect for sovereignty. Canada's parliament held an emergency session. Members from all parties, conservative and liberal, stood united. One conservative member who usually avoids criticizing Trump said, "I supported Trump on many issues, but suggesting Canada become an American state crosses every line. This is our country. Our sovereignty is not negotiable." What makes these statements truly alarming is not just that Trump is saying them, it's that he's saying them with increasing frequency, with military language, and with no sign of backing down. Foreign policy experts are genuinely worried. Former U.S. officials who served in previous administrations have expressed alarm. Multiple sources told major news outlets they've never seen rhetoric like this from an American president. Trump is undermining the very foundations of the post-World War II order. Foreign policy analysts warn that what Trump is doing is reframing American foreign policy from alliance-based cooperation to transactional imperialism. This is dangerous, because once you abandon the principle of respecting sovereignty, you open the door to chaos. According to reports from multiple news outlets, current and former military officials have privately expressed deep discomfort with this rhetoric. American alliances depend on trust, and Trump's statements are eroding that trust with every public appearance. So why is Trump doing this? What's the strategy? There are several theories. Theory 1. Genuine belief. Some close to Trump say he genuinely believes America should expand its territory, that Alaska was a great purchase in 1867. That manifest destiny should continue into the 21st century. Theory 2. Negotiating tactic. Others argue this is classic Trump. Make an extreme demand so when you negotiate down, you still get something significant. Theory 3. Distraction. Critics say Trump is using these statements to distract from domestic problems. Legal issues, policy failures, internal party divisions. Theory 4. Base politics. Trump's hardcore supporters love this rhetoric. It sounds strong. America first, unapologetic. And Trump knows his base doesn't care about diplomatic norms. But regardless of motivation, the consequences are real. America's alliances are fracturing. European leaders are openly questioning whether they can trust the United States. Asian allies like Japan and South Korea are watching nervously. If Trump threatens NATO allies, what does that mean for us? And adversaries are taking notes. Russia's foreign ministry issued a statement that was barely concealed mockery. "We note with interest America's renewed imperial ambitions. Perhaps they should focus on domestic issues instead." China's state media ran editorials saying, "The mask has fallen. America's talk of democracy and international law was always hypocrisy. Now they openly threaten to seize territory from allies. What's happening inside the Republican Party is equally revealing. The party is split. The MAGA wing, figures like Marjorie Taylor Greene, Matt Gaetz, and Steve Bannon are cheering Trump on." Bannon said on his podcast, "This is what America first looks like. We built the Panama Canal. We defend Greenland. Why shouldn't we control them?" But traditional conservative foreign policy voices are alarmed. Senator Mitt Romney said, "These statements undermine American credibility and endanger our alliances. We cannot be a nation that threatens allies with military force. Former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, who served under Trump, tried to walk a careful line. I believe President Trump is focused on American security, but our alliances are our greatest strength. We must maintain them. Behind the scenes, according to major news reporting, Republican senators are holding emergency meetings trying to figure out how to respond. Some want to publicly rebuke Trump. Others fear the political cost. One senator told reporters anonymously, "We're terrified. If we criticize him, we lose our primaries. If we stay silent, we're complicit in damaging America's position in the world. We're trapped." The legal questions are equally complex. Can a president unilaterally seize foreign territory? Constitutional scholars say absolutely not. The Constitution gives Congress the power to declare war. The president cannot simply invade another country, especially an ally, without congressional authorization. But Trump has shown repeatedly that he views such constraints as suggestions rather than rules. And his legal team has consistently argued for an expansive view of presidential power. If Trump ordered military action against Greenland or Panama, what would happen? The military would face an impossible choice: refuse an order from the commander-in-chief, which would trigger a constitutional crisis, or obey an order that could violate international law and potentially the U.S. Constitution itself. Legal experts and former military lawyers have noted that officers take oaths to the Constitution, not to the president. If given an illegal order, military officers would be obligated to refuse. But that would trigger a crisis unlike anything modern America has seen. Meanwhile, the rest of the world is recalibrating. At the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, world leaders gathered and the conversation kept returning to one topic: Trump's expansion rhetoric. Multiple European officials speaking to various international media outlets expressed alarm about what they describe as the potential collapse of the transatlantic alliance. If America becomes unpredictable, Europe must prepare alternative defense arrangements. Reports from diplomatic sources indicate serious discussions are underway about defense cooperation independent of NATO. Trump has made it clear through his statements that traditional security guarantees may no longer be reliable. Asian allies have expressed similar concerns. According to reporting from major international outlets, Japanese and South Korean officials are having serious conversations about their defense posture in light of Trump's willingness to threaten even NATO allies. What's most striking about this entire situation is how quickly norms are collapsing. Just 4 years ago, the idea of an American president threatening to seize Allied territory would have been unthinkable. Career diplomats would resign. Congress would hold emergency hearings. The media would be wall-to-wall coverage. But now it's treated almost as routine. Another day, another Trump statement. And that normalization is perhaps the most dangerous thing of all. Because once you accept that presidents can threaten allies with military force, that international law is optional, that sovereignty is negotiable, you fundamentally changed what America represents. As a conservative who has observed American politics for decades, I find myself struggling with this moment. Because I believe in American strength, I believe in American leadership, but I also believe that strength comes from alliances, from keeping your word, from being a nation others can trust. What Trump is doing undermines all of that. The question now is not whether Trump will actually invade Greenland or seize the Panama Canal. The damage is already done. Because even if he never acts on these threats, the fact that an American president made them has changed how the world sees us. Allies no longer trust us. Adversaries no longer fear us in the way they should. They see chaos and unpredictability. And the international order that America built over 75 years, an order that prevented World War III, that spread prosperity, that advanced human rights, that order is fracturing, not because of external enemies, but because of decisions being made in Washington. This is the real crisis, not the specific threats about Greenland or Panama or Canada, but the larger question of what America stands for. Are we a nation of laws or a nation of one man's impulses? Are we a reliable ally or an unpredictable threat? Do we respect sovereignty or do we believe might makes right? These questions will define not just Trump's presidency, but America's role in the world for decades to come. And right now, the answers are deeply unsettling. Because what we're witnessing is not just controversial foreign policy. It's the potential collapse of the principles that made American power legitimate in the first place. And once legitimacy is lost, it's extraordinarily difficult to regain. The world is watching. History is recording. And the choices being made in this moment will echo far beyond any single presidency or political moment. This is about whether the international system based on sovereignty, alliances, and law can survive, or whether we're entering a new era where power alone determines outcomes. And if that's the future, it's not one where America will remain the leader, because other nations have power too. And if the only rule is strength, then America's advantages disappear. That's the paradox Trump doesn't seem to understand. By abandoning the rules, he's abandoning the very system that made American dominance possible. And the consequences of that abandonment are only beginning to unfold.